Hey guys, we're Gaming Lobby here with another painting tutorial. This time we have a medium advanced tutorial on how to paint the same dead or necrotic flesh you can see on this Beast of Nurgle here. It's a color scheme that works perfectly on Nurgle units or zombies or whatever. I will teach you how to paint this kind of skin with sores and all sort of inflammation. We will also paint deep, fresh wounds, and finally these wonderful toxic green bubbly pustules. My main model is already painted, so I took one of the spare parts in the kit and started priming the miniature, as usual with German Panzer grey primer. To save time, I also applied a strong base coat of Model Air German green. Doing this, I saved a couple easy steps that you can easily do by yourself. We will start from here. We are going to exploit the green layer to give a sickly look to the piece. For the second layer, we use game color dwarf skin, a beautiful pink-orange flesh tone. There's nothing special to see here. We just need to give the mini and uniform paint coat. The ideal would be not to let the color into the skin crevices, but there are so many and the kit is so big that I gave up immediately and realized it would be better to come back later with a good wash. As you will see, this color scheme is quite time consuming, but the result is totally worth the extra effort. Go on and try this out. You will learn how to make different paint layers interact with each other, generating colors you don't even have on the palette. It uses a lot of different paints, so have a look in the description for the complete list if you want to try it. So the dwarf skin is dry. Notice how I applied the paint, leaving some thicker and thinner areas to have some color variation going on. We also start to see some interesting color effect going on there. The red from the flesh and the green from the undercoat interact, giving a sort of greyish look where the skin layer is thinner. We want to keep exploiting this, and for the next step we grab Warcolours Warm Grey 2 to go on top of the dwarf skin. The paint is really transparent, so we need multiple coats. We keep going back and forth until we are happy with the result. If you're patient enough, you should try to avoid getting the paint into the deep recesses. But if you do it by accident, don't worry, we'll be washing this thing away in the next step. The paint is dry, but it still looks pink. We are still ages away from this cold bluish look we are after, so you may think I'm nuts. I think we are doing fine actually, the only problem being that we flooded the recesses with pink, so we move on to a green wash now. We want to bring back the contrast in these recesses. If you have it, you can use a Thonian Camo shade from GW, but I don't, so I mix my own. I grabbed German Grey and Army Painter Dark Tone. Mix a really small amount of green in the black wash and go directly on the mini. Army Painter washes are great because they don't leave coffee stains, so you can go crazy. Cover everything with plenty of wash so we can get all our wonderful details back. With the wash dry, you can see how the red in the pink and the green in the wash are cancelling each other, resulting in a nice dark grey in those crevices. We pick up Warm Grey 2 again and re-establish the raised areas. With this color being gel medium based, it's easy to overbrush without getting in the dark areas. So I mainly overbrush this. Here an interesting effect starts to kick in. The yellowish tint in the grey acts as a filter for the green below, which starts to look like bluish. As a consequence, with this layer, we are desaturating the green, introducing a bluish hue into the piece, while also increasing the overall brightness. When we are done, we are closer to the pale flesh we want. Next, we move a step up in value to Warcolours Warm Grey One, and we highlight the miniature to our heart's content. This color further enhances the blue hue showing through the colors below. Look how much these paints interact with each other, they're wonderful. So with this final highlight we are basically done, but we want to reinforce the shadows and introduce some purple using glazes. First, grab some signal blue, add a microscopic drop on the palette, and make a glaze with flow improver. Be careful not to go too dark. Better to be on the lighter side because you can't easily undo a thick glaze. Use this glaze mainly to reinforce the shaded areas, but you can also spread it all over the model if you see it fit. Don't make the model completely blue, so keep the light and dark areas well separated. Now we introduce some purple tone from Army Painter, and we do exactly the same thing. Purple represents the blood pooling in the necrotic areas, giving the flesh a sick look. I will finish this and let it properly dry. Now that the glazes are dry, you see how the effect looks more subtle. We are still somewhat overpowering the lower colors, so we can pick up some additional highlight to kick the contrast up a notch. Think of this as your last highlight, so try to be as precise as you can. Pick up all the ridges around the wounds because we want some contrast there. Well, the flesh is finally done. Looks the same, right? In the next step, we will paint the open wounds. For the wounds, we will be using a red wash. I have a Vallejo Red Wash, but you can use whatever you want. I took care to highlight the inside of the wounds, but if you forgot that, just pick up a creamy white or off-white paint and just give them a quick coat. Then you grab the red wash and slap it in. It's that easy. This is a pin wash, so stay confined inside the wound, leave it dry and prepare the next wash. As you know, red and purple are perfect for wounds, so we redo the previous step with purple wash. Before we can proceed with the highlight, the paint must be left again to dry. To highlight the inside of the wounds, we go for a nice pink color, Warcolours Purple 3. We put just a small drop in the palette and proceed delicately highlighting the inside of the wounds. Don't rush this step. If you miss the wound, you may ruin that beautiful skin. To paint the pustules, I use these colors. I already put them on the palette. We move up from Goblin Green to Golden Olive, Light Livery Green. In the middle we have a 1-to-1 mix of these two, and finally we have the Warcolours one coat Yellow Green. We start base coating with Goblin Green. It takes a couple layers, but you want to properly cover everything. The first time you try this, I suggest you do it on the bigger ones. Next color we use is Green Olive. We do everything again, but for bigger pustules, try to leave some gradation from the Goblin Green so we can get lighter as we move towards the center. Light livery green is a airbrush paint, so it's perfect to glaze highlights in, but the drawback is that it may take you up to 3 layers in some cases. Finally, we dilute some 1 coat yellow-green and we do the final highlight. Just highlight the very center. Take the smallest brush you have and take your time. Final step, I promise. We want to accentuate the green hue in the dark areas, and we do this with Warcolours green ink. You can use Waywatcher green from G-Dubs if you are a Citadel user, but I am not, so I will use Warcolours green ink. So this is basically all you need to know to paint toxic glowing green pustules. So here we have the finished piece. If you watch through the whole video, you notice how complicated this color scheme is, but you will agree with me, the result is outstanding and realistic looking. Well, realistic as it can be, I mean. You can use it on your bigger units, but if you want something simpler for smaller units, I will make a video with the simplified, faster version. I hope you liked this video, and I really hope to see you next time. If you liked this tutorial, please like and subscribe so I can keep making more. And don't forget to leave your comments and critiques in the comment section below so I can keep improving. Thank you for watching.